All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And welcome to my AMP show, The Upside. I'm so excited. Today I have an amazing guest. Mr. Jason Mraz is going to be talking with me, who is just one of my favorites. I love him so much. I love how happy and how feel good his music is. And also, he exudes that not only through his music, but also he's just a wonderful person. I've had the pleasure of getting to meet him in person, and I'm even more excited to get a chance to really dive in deep with him today and chat. But let's see. While we are waiting for him to arrive, hello. Oh, good. I always like to check to make sure everybody can hear me because you know me. I am the queen of technical difficulties. No stranger to that for sure. So anyways, it's nice to know that you can all hear me. Hello, hello. Where are you guys all listening from? Let me know in the chat as well. Oh, I think Jason is here. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing so much love for Jason in the chat. We love Jason. Love you, Jason. Oh, everybody's really excited. But I see we've got some people from Pennsylvania. We've got Colorado. So anyways, we've got people from all over the place. Yeah, I want to make sure I've enabled the call in. Yes, I have. Okay, we're all good there. So I'm excited because we just announced officially all my touring for the next few months. You know, we're going to be doing a US tour. We're also going to be going to Europe for some tour dates. Also, I'm playing Lollapalooza, which is a huge deal for me. I'm going to be playing Lollapalooza in Paris. And yeah, I'm like so excited about it. But at the same time, I'm a little nervous. It's my biggest festival slot yet. And I think all of us at times get that imposter syndrome situation where you go, oh my gosh, I don't know. Do I deserve this? Like, am I good enough? Am I like, if I put myself on a stage that big in front of 50,000 people, will I be enough? You know, I think that's a feeling that I think in life everybody has at times. And anyways, the other day I got a call letting me know that that's the slot I got, and that's about how many people are going to be there. And at first I was so excited, and then I nearly had a panic attack thinking about it. I was like, wait a second, am I enough for this? And I'm really grateful that I have a great team around me to help me realize that you can do this. But also sometimes it just takes like a moment of checking in with yourself and reminding yourself that you're enough as you are. And that you can do it, that you can do hard things, and that like we're all up to the challenge. And I think anyways, so next time you guys feel that moment of imposter syndrome of like, am I enough? Can I do this? Like, is me showing up as myself gonna check the box? Is it the answer is yes. Just remind yourself that. Remember that everybody feels it and you're enough as you are. And anyways, while we wait for Jason, though, I actually think, oh, wait, I think he's here. I was just about to play one of his songs, but I'm going to go ahead and invite him in today so we can just get chatting, and then we'll definitely play some of his music later because he's got some new singles out that are so fun, so fun. So I'm really excited to get to talk to him about these new songs. Hello, Jason. Welcome to the show. Thanks for making time. By the way, you have to tap your little microphone to unmute yourself. Just heads up.
Hello, Lindsey, and all of your fabulous listeners.
Oh my gosh, and they're so excited. They're going crazy in the chat. They're excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're here. How are you doing, first of all? Where are you? Are you home right now? Are you on the road? What's going on?
I am home at the moment. I am preparing for a summer tour. So today I'm building a tour intro, things that people will see on the screen and some announcements that we'll make before the show starts. So it's pretty fun to already be setting the intention for the mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride that this show will hopefully become. So that's what I'm doing today.
Amazing. Okay. Now I must ask, do you do some of your own video work? Like, do you do a lot of your own editing and content creation for your screens if you're doing this right now?
You know, over the years, I've tried to learn how to do every job just so that I can understand what everybody does. But then I still employ the best. I still empower and employ great artists to then sit in that driver's seat and either create that content or edit this or that. So, but I love starting it out myself because I want to understand how to interface with that technology. I want to understand how I can tell my story. And then through knowing either what those keyboard shortcuts are or just the language of that editing software, I can then communicate with the editor or the producer of the content. So the answer is yes and no.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I respect that so much, and I think as an artist, there's a lot of different moving parts in our world, and it is so cool. The more you learn, like you said, it just gives you this language, also appreciation for the skills of the people that do the job. Like amazing when you're like, I tinker around and I can make an example, but like, please make it better, and then it makes you so much more appreciation. For something that you might have thought was easy, you know?
That's right.
But that is so exciting. I have to say, personally, one of my favorite phases of like the entire process of like writing the music, getting it, you know, recorded, and then touring and promotion and music video. One of my favorite phases is the creation of the show, like the brainstorming / execution phase, like what you're doing right now. Is this something, like I find that's a little bit rare for that to be a favorite part, but is this something that you enjoy, or what is your favorite part of the music process? Because I find a lot of people actually hate that part.
Yeah, not my favorite part. My favorite part is showtime. Because even if you have a set list worked out, there's going to be things that are unplanned. Either just how you feel in the song that night was extra special, or how the audience reacted or participated, or banter, or hecklers, or mistakes that turned into beautiful jams. Like, I love the performance because that's the unplanned part. And in this part, setting up the video and setting up the intention for the show, I can do my best, but I don't know if it's going to be a rainy night, if it's going to be a cold night. Like, it's hard for me to imagine what the show is going to be this far in advance. So I find this part to be very challenging. I also want to make the set list this early because I like to feel the set list the night before or the day of to understand what can I play tonight that I'm truly going to resonate with.
Wait, so do you change your, or like, do you slightly change your set list throughout this tour, or like per show?
Yeah. So there's definitely anchor songs that I can't not play. And that's fine. I love having familiar songs that people want to hear, but then I leave big gaps in the show that can be anything. That can be, I can bring songs out of obscurity, or I can do something by myself, or try a new song. Yeah. It keeps the band on their toes, and I think it keeps it exciting for everyone. Yeah. Or maybe not.
No,
it keeps it exciting for me.
I think 100% it makes it, like, I think as artists, someone once told me, and I was like, wow, that's so wise. She said, if you get bored on tour, that's on you. Like, that's your fault. You're the artist, and it's your job to keep your audience entertained, of course, but even more importantly, like, so you can entertain well, you and your band and your people, you have to be on your toes, and that's on you to like challenge yourself, or like switch up your show when you feel it's necessary. Or anyways, I that's so cool that you change your set throughout your tour. I am definitely not like that. I make a tour set, and unless there's a problem, it stays, you know, like it's the same every night. But I really respect that ability to like have a flexible show. And yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm curious. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, we haven't done any shows with dancers or any choreo yet. So I would think if I were to eventually get into that world, although I probably won't, then I could see how wanting to like map out the show in advance is definitely going to help everybody. It's going to help dancers, it's going to help lighting, it's going to help video, it's going to help cameras, it's going to help bands. So I envy you and those who can map out the show in advance, because I think that would be a blast. But
Well, I've seen you dance, so I know that you could have dancers if you wanted to.
Thank you. Pardon me. I have to just cough. I'm eating trail mix, and now I have to cough. I'm going to mute my mic.
Okay, you go for it. But I'm just going to brag about you. Oh, yeah, it worked.
Sorry, I'm back. Okay, great. But
wow,
you can brag about
really
me.
Quick
like,
well, I was just
yeah,
going to
just a quick
about you on set at your music video, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was very impressed by your swag and your dancing, and you've got a natural groove. I was like, okay, like he's a really good dancer.
Hey, thanks. I have enjoyed movement my whole life. My parents divorced when I was very young, and so whenever I was with my dad as a very tiny kid, be with my dad on the weekends, he would occasionally go to clubs, and I'd tag along and dance on the dance floor and feel the beat. And my sister and her friends were in jazz, tap, and ballet, and they were always creating dances, so they'd pull me into those. So I was always participating in dance. But it's something that I never explored. Once I got out of college, I went to college for musical theater, and we had to do jazz, tap, and ballet in college as well. I'm going to cough. Okay, sorry, it was an almond.
But got
honestly,
it though. You got the almond.
I had to walk to school in a dance belt, which for men, it's like the ballet dancer's jockstrap, right? It kind of keeps it all together. And I would walk 17 blocks to school in a dance belt. And it was probably during that walk to school that I said, I don't know if I really want to be a dancer. I would rather make up my own songs and prance around to my own beat. And then I did that for 20 years. And now through the music, and music has always done this for me when I write songs, it's as if something in my subconscious realizes what I haven't done yet or what I still need to say, do, or be in the world. And it'll come through the music. And this new music has really been a lot about dance and movement. And maybe it's because I'm getting older and I don't want to lose my range of motion. And I want to continue to encourage stretching and reaching and kicking and twisting and bending over and being able to work in the garden and being able to reach things on the top shelf, right? I see my parents in their older age unable to do certain movements. And so maybe in my subconscious, I want to have more songs about dance and movement. That's how we've arrived at the music I'm making currently with the video that you so generously and graciously made an appearance in, where we feel like dancing. And it's really just about shaking it off, getting out of your head and dancing a little bit. So thanks for acknowledging that I have some movement skills, but I did have a choreographer that day.
Right, which she is amazing. Megan Lawson, right?
Correct.
Is the choreographer. Yep. So she's like, her best friend is also an amazing choreographer who did my last tour. She did quite a bit of my last tour.
Whoa, and so wait, which?
Who was in the video as well. Jillian was the curly redhead girl.
I know Jillian. Yeah. She choreographed your tour?
Yeah, she choreographed like half of the show and several of my music videos, and she's just genius. And I knew Megan's work through stuff they've collaborated on and like posted just for fun on their own, and they're genius. So like, what is it like working with Megan, and have you worked with her before?
No, that was my first time. So this video introduced me to Megan. Now I knew Jillian through many, many years. I actually met her at a night of swing dancing about a decade and a half ago. And then I would recognize her through the years and occasionally run into her at events. So this was great to have Jillian in the video and to get to know Megan and her swag and her style and her dynamics through dance. and get to know the Seaweed Sisters, which is Megan
That's
and
what I'm talking
Jillian
about.
and Dana Wilson. Now, I actually just did a video. I reached out to Jillian to see if she was available to choreograph, and she was unavailable on that date. And so I got another Seaweed sister, Dana Wilson, to step in and choreograph / movement coach my most recent video, which comes out next week. So I just love that team of Seaweed sisters. They are so creative, so kind, so generous with their, with all of it, with their watching and their patience and their molding and sculpting and weaving of creative ideas into what I'm capable of. You know, I really love that.
Yes, and I honestly think that's what makes a great choreographer is when someone has the ability to look at someone who isn't a professional dancer. That would be, I'm in that category for sure.
No way, you're a professional dancer.
Well, not really, but I work with great choreographers like Jillian, like the Seaweed Sisters, and they're able to look at you and me, and they're able to say, "Oh, wow, this will look good on your body. Like, I know how to choreograph for you." Like, and that's, I think, what honestly makes like such a huge part of being a great choreographer. And so, anyways, you got a great team working with you.
For sure, I got real lucky. Yep.
Were you comfortable learning that much choreography for the video? Because like you said, you have been a part of dance throughout your life through like musical theater and stuff, or was this like a lot to comprehend?
It was a lot, but it wasn't too much. I think it would have been a lot if I was just on my own improvising dance for that video. And I knew after I wrote the song that I was going to be faced with a very challenging promotional period where a song that says I feel like dancing, I can't just sit down and perform it. You know, I can't stand still and perform it. I knew I was going to be challenged and would have to dance. And that was part of the excitement. Had I been by myself and had to improvise for the camera and make it work, I would have been terrified and probably even a little lost. So having the choreography really helped me glue it all together. The lyric, the movement, getting through the building for the video, and also building up a vocabulary of dance steps.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So you had a couple TikTok stars, as you know, quite a few cameos that were present in that. It was even fun to see like some of my friends where they're like, I love the fitness Marshall, and you know, you just had a really great cast of people there. You know, and you've been doing this whole music thing for 2 decades now, and since you started, I mean, music has changed so much. Like, there was the influence of YouTube, and then it became Instagram, and now TikTok, and so. How has social media and all these different platforms changed your music world throughout your career?
You know, when I started, it was less visual, and we were all about trying to get your songs heard on the radio, or trying to get people to come into the cafe where I'd perform, the coffee shop, or the club or the theater, you know. So that was the only visual, was either the live show, or if you were lucky enough to make a music video, which was a huge production, and things were on tape, and it sounds like they might as well have been in black and white. I remember around 2010, I think 2011, suddenly I walked into a radio station and there were cameras there. And after that, everywhere I went, people were filming every interview. And this is actually, the fact that you have a radio show and we're just chatting is kind of amazing, because we're really recreating a technology that was before the YouTube and before the TikTok, the Instagram, the live chats and all that. And that's how my career began. And all of a sudden cameras started to show up. And it took me a very long while to get used to it, because I would go into these radio stations in my pajamas or with, you know, disheveled looking hair or style because I'm living in a tour van, or I'm on my way to and from a gig, and I'm just not really put together yet. So it took me a little while to get comfortable with it and realize that I'm going to have to be more camera ready now for the rest of my career. And a little bit of that is challenging, because I'm still all about the song and I want the songs to be heard. Honestly, I really did want my songs to be more popular than me. I didn't want people to have to know who I was or anything about my life for them to hear the song and enjoy the song. But what I think the technology has done is it's actually enhanced music, because now you want to know, it takes knowing the artist and seeing them and seeing how they live their life or the content they're sharing to then create more of a love and a trust or a devotion or a connection that keeps you more interested in the music. So I think this evolution of video was always going to happen. It's technology's way of getting people into the cafe a whole lot sooner. And now people can be in their seats from the get-go, and people can watch you every single day. Whereas 20 years ago, you're lucky if you got a video out every once in a while, or you could get to a show. So in a way, I love how technology has made us more connected and given us access to so many more artists, to their styles, to the way they create music, to their sense of humor. There's so much we get from social media through our little looking glass that, but I will add this, sometimes it makes the music secondary because we've put our face, our personality, almost our celebrity in front, and we have all of these talents now, including making content, that creating a song is just one of our talents. And
1,000%. Well said.
Yeah, and that's cool, but if that ever diminishes the song quality, or if it takes me away from evolving as a musician or writing the best song possible, then I put the camera down and I check out from social media and I go back to my strongest talent, which I think is songwriting and singing that song. So it has its perks, but it also has its challenges.
Absolutely. And I think what you said there is, well, you said it so well. But I also like how you said, I sometimes need to take a little bit of reflection, step aside from everything else and go back to what your greatest talent is. And I think that, sometimes we're asked to wear so many hats, or even we ask ourselves to wear so many hats because we think we should, or we think and I think that's such an important thing to remember, one, why you got into it, but also like, okay, what am I actually the best at? What's my greatest gift? And really leaning on that without thinking that we have to always, every day, be every type of role. So anyways, I think that's very well said, very wise. And so congrats, by the way, on your upcoming album. I love the name, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride. Where did this come from?
So this is a lyric that's inside the album, and it says, it's from a song. The song is called Disco Sun, and it's basically about nature and how everything's dancing under this beautiful disco ball of a sunshine, right? How all these, no matter where we are, the light reaches us all, right? And that's a beautiful thing. And so in the song, it says, it's only natural to get down low like an animal and kiss the ground that we're walking on. Because it's a miracle that we're here at all on this mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. And I wanted to present life in such a profound and multisyllabic way, because to say life is so short, and it reminds us, maybe even makes us feel that life is short, and that can be kind of sad. But if I say
Mhm.
life is a mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride, suddenly I'm present to so many elements and so many things, and gratitude as a theme and wonder as a theme will always um, breathe life into me in ways that um, that just words can't do sometimes. So I have to add a little bit of gratitude and wonder. So that's
Mm.
what the album's about, gratitude and wonder. You know, I'm still just amazed at this big, vibrant, biological mass called Earth and the universe that it swims in, and all of the magic that we can't see and that we sense, and the rhythms of life through music, through seasons, and so on and so on. So that's
Mhm.
where I got the title from, and that's hopefully
So
what the
cool.
album reflects. Yeah.
I love it. And, you know, you're using words like magical and vibrant and color. And I'm sitting here staring at the album artwork, which is really great, by the way. I love it,
Huh.
captures all the things you're talking about. So for everybody that can't see it right now, you should go look it up. But there's like big paintbrush strokes, and you're just like sitting in the middle of it, kind of in awe. Is that how you always saw the album cover to be? Or did it kind of like, it's always interesting how these shoots sometimes just like piece by piece come together, or sometimes it's like you have an exact idea of how you want it to be. What was it in this
Right.
case?
I didn't have an exact idea because, again, the visual has never been the first thing I see. It's usually the songs. So we did a photo
Mhm.
shoot on our day off while in the studio. We did 10 days of recording in New York City, and we had a day off on the Sunday, middle of the session, and we decided that afternoon we would go do a photo shoot with one of our favorite photographers, Shervin Linez, who's out in Brooklyn. And we told him, this is my eighth studio album, and I'm making it in tandem with Raining James, one of my best friends. And so there's five of us. We're working on my eighth album. We're coming in for a photo shoot. Eight is our kind of um, it was a prompt that we gave the director, the photographer.
Mm.
And when we walked in, he had this big canvas on the wall of all those colors, and it had 8 stripes on it. And that was the only
Mm.
reason he chose that canvas, is because it had 8 stripes. And it just so happened that they were the same exact colors as all of the outfits that we had brought. So we thought, well, this
Wow.
is kind of great. So we took a bunch of photos, and one of them was just me kind of chilling in front of that canvas. And as soon as he shot it, he looked at his camera and said, "This is your album cover." And he showed it to the band, and they were like, 100%. And I looked at it and I thought,
Mm.
0%. Like, what is this? Like, I'm, and I haven't been on my own albums since 2004. I've used art or illustrations. I've not put my own photograph on them. So
Mm.
I didn't know about me on the cover, and I didn't know about me by myself on the cover, because this really has been a group effort. I wanted to include the band, but they talked me into it. And there's so much about owning who you are, that the challenge of me letting go and me being okay on the cover is part of that process. It's part of that experience. Like,
Mm.
this is who I am. I've never showed that I had tattoos on my shoulder. I don't even think I have a shirt on. It's like it's a happy photo, but
Yeah.
I definitely have internalized it quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think it really suits all the descriptors you were talking about. Like, as you were describing it, and I'm staring at the album cover, I was like, yeah, it works. It makes sense to me. It connects, and I think it's really a beautiful, vulnerable, piece for you, the way you've described
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. The album starts with a song called Getting Started, and it's about starting a dream anytime. Like you can start anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can have a new idea and a new dream and go for it. And the photo on the front kind of feels like that. It feels like almost like I'm a new artist, and this is a new sound for me. It's a new, you know, the fact that my photo was on it is kind of a new era for me. So
Yeah.
I eventually let that photo be the cover for its sort of optimistic and hopefully humble beginning of this new era.
Yeah. Okay, so your eighth album. I wanted to ask you about that. What was the challenge that you faced when writing album number 8?
Hmm. The challenge was the pandemic. That was
Oh, yeah.
a bit of a challenge. And feeling a shift uh, in just a shift of energy in the world, right? I feel like when I'm going to create music that then is paired up with the promotion of music, because I could just write a song, put it out, and it's just out, right? That's one way of doing it. But the way we do it is we write the song, we record it, and then we package it up. We talk about it, we present it, and then we have a big celebration on its release. So it's a thing, right? So
Mhm.
when the world's energy shifted around pandemic and around protests and just around peace in general and even mindfulness, um, I have to think, well, what's my purpose? If I'm going to ask people for their time and attention, if I'm going to say, hey, look at me, what is it that I'm making that's worthy of their time and attention? So that's the first
Mhm.
challenge is of all the songs that I'm writing, what is worthy to basically ask someone for 5 minutes of their time to hear this song, or better, if I'm lucky, an hour of their time to listen to the album or listen to it more than once. So I have to think of
Mhm.
purpose, and inside of purpose, um, who am I, and what am I asking for in life? What am I learning? What are my insights that may be invaluable to others? So these are the
Mhm.
real challenges. Once I can find myself grounded or rooted in purpose, then the music that I make or the play that I make around it feels very light and youthful and buoyant and childlike, which I love because
Mhm.
I, in a world that's hungry for purpose, I didn't want to be too. It's easy to feel too serious and say,
For
"Look
sure.
at this, learn this, feel this." Um, um, my phone is saying technical issue. Are we still okay?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Maybe I'm just getting a technical issue on the chat or something. Um, But I made this album in tandem with four of my best friends. They're called Raining Jane. They are a folk rock indie band from Los Angeles. We've been writing songs together since 2007, and we wanted to make a dance album together. And that was also part of this process, was how can we keep the tempo up and create
Mm.
some magic with some meaning that would make us feel good every time we played it, and then hopefully it would make the world feel good once we set it free and let others have it to listen to and play with.
I love that. And they're coming on tour with you, right?
Yes, they are in the super band. My super band is made up of like 3 or 4 different bands, and we all come together to make one big super band. And I love it because
Oh my God.
it's a dozen plus musicians um, that make me sound great. And I'm so honored that these musicians would want to spend their summer with me shredding on their instruments over these little silly song ideas. And many in my band had been in my band for 15 plus years. So tour always feels like a bit of a reunion because we all get to come together,
Totally.
live on the buses and find the coffee shops and have fun days off. And there's no other gig like it, as you know, unless you're in the circus, maybe.
Well, I feel like we're all our own kind of circus, you know. Once you get on tour, it feels a little traveling circus family, and 12 musicians on stage. Though that is wild. I bet that is such an amazing sound. So, anyways, I'm gonna have to catch a tour date. Is there anything about this tour that you're doing that you're excited about? That's maybe something a little bit new, or like I don't know. What are you most excited about for this upcoming tour?
Good question, because I'm still in the building process, but I'm excited about the dance numbers and how we're going to pull that off.
Is your band going to kind of groove and like dance around with you a little bit?
I don't know. We've done plenty of side step and step touch for many years, but will we go full seaweed on this audience? I'm not sure. It's also finding the right mix of like because the set list changes so much. Like we probably only play 20 songs a night approximately, but the band will maybe learn 40 or 50, so that way we can have a big library of songs to choose from. The thing I'm most looking forward to is just getting started and then knowing that week after week it's going to be a slightly different show. One of the things that I would love to try to do, and it's going to depend on the venue, but I wear these, they're basically like wheelie shoes, but they're shoes that that I can just click on wheels very quickly and roller skate. And so I secretly want to roller skate in this show, but it's going to depend on this. Yes, I've done it once. I did it with the San Diego Symphony. I clicked on my wheels and I skated around like Gene Kelly while I sang my song, and it was a thrill. It was a dream. So I'd love to try this summer because it is a radical ride after all. We need people to be going on a ride with us.
I am full supporter of this idea. I think that's genius. Also because I've seen you on social media skating. You know, it's something I feel like when I first got onto TikTok and I was seeing what are other artists doing, I'm having a memory of, I feel like when I was trying to figure out how I would find myself on TikTok, I happened upon one of your videos and you were roller skating. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. Like, and I think you were a great example to me of finding out what you like and then putting it on social media rather than just doing what everybody else sometimes, because it's easy to fall in that trap of like, I need to just do what the algorithm is telling me is great. And anyway, so I feel like I know that about you, just being, seeing your presence online. So I think people would have such a kick seeing you do that in person.
I hope so, because as much as I want to do it, there may be others in the audience that are like, just pick up a guitar and sing us a song. Like, what are you doing on skates? But if I can weave it in and keep the song going, then I'll be tickled. So that's something I'm excited about for the summer.
And I think it goes in line with the theme. Sorry, I'm like trying to talk you into your own idea, but I'm like so excited for you about this. I'm like, I think it goes into the theme of your album of also like, you feel like dancing, you feel like doing your thing and not worrying so much about what everybody, anyways, I think that's a genius idea.
All right. Thanks.
I'm all for I'm excited to see it come to fruition.
Thank you.
Also, you've always been a very big supporter and an outspoken advocate of mental health and wellness and, maintaining, also that you maintain a vegan lifestyle. So I would just love to know where this journey with wellness and, all of this began for you.
Thank you. It began around 2005. I was pretty burnt out from 2 albums back to back touring, and I kind of just felt tired. I felt exhausted and a little lost. And one of the last gigs we did before I took a big break was we opened for the Rolling Stones. And
Whoa.
right? And I got to see how they were eating healthy and how Mick Jagger works out right before he goes on stage. He's doing like 45 minutes of treadmill before he goes out on stage. And it occurred to me that if I want to sustain and have a career as long as the Rolling Stones are having, then I need to have good ingredients going in my body. And that's not just food, but also a great attitude and great language going around and around in my head, because it's so easy for our creative minds to say, I'm not good enough, I quit, I'm tired, I am sorry to this audience. And what I learned through my work, I guess, around that era was that anything I put after the words I am, I will become. So if I am sorry, then I'm just going to be sorry. If I am tired, I am tired. The universe is very quick to help you become that which you are. And so I learned about affirmations. I am worthy. I am strong. I am healthy. I am capable. I am forgiving. I am accepting. And this powerful, subtle shift in language became kind of a just part of the foundation in my writing, in my daily journaling, in all around mindfulness. So that way I could stay, I could always stay in front of where the mind goes when we're tired or when we're dehydrated. So I'm so sensitive, and I feel like I can feel other people suffering. And so becoming an advocate for mental health and or helping even through how songs are being sung and delivered became very important to me. It kind of added it to my purpose. It's like, I don't want the world to suffer. I don't want others to suffer. And anytime I've experienced that myself, it's just very painful. And I feel so blessed that I get to do what I do. And I want to continue to inspire others to live in their highest self so that they can experience the richness of life the way I've been able to experience it. And I don't feel like I'm any different than anyone else. I feel that I was just given, I was seen and I was heard. I mean, that's really the foundation of my success, is that I've been blessed that people heard my songs, they hear my voice, and that they see me, that I exist in the world. And I feel there's a lot of suffering and anxiety and panic attack in our culture simply because people aren't being seen and they're not being heard. They're not being able to express what it is they need and what they want. Thus, it turns into anxiety. It turns into panic. Turns into shortness of breath. So for me, language was a big part of it. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, are there any specific like practices? I love how you talked about, I should also add that I just love how you talked about putting good food into your body as like the obvious first thought, but then also like words. Oh, what else am I intaking? Like everything we intake, everything we ingest through our eyes, through our ears, through our mouth, it all adds to like who we become. I thought that was a really cool, holistic view.
Yeah,
but then
exactly.
How have you, like, are there practices like some people do yoga or meditation or breath work? Like, is there anything specific that is kind of incorporated into your life, but also that maybe you even take on the road?
Yes, yoga is a regular part of my life, and it's always on a show day for sure. In fact, I call it shoga because I usually after sound check on a show day, I'll put a do not disturb on my door and I go do my shoga. And I've been doing yoga long enough now that I can create my own flow. based on how I'm feeling. But a lot of it is based on Surya Namaskar A, which is just your basic sun salutation that everyone kind of learns in typical Hatha yoga. And then there was one that was taught to me called the 5 Tibetan Rites, which is very unique. And it was taught to me, I understand it to be, it's what the monks do so they can ready themselves for hours of meditation. And they're very basic exercises, and they take about 15 minutes to do. So I weave those yogas together, and it's just an exercise for your body to do while simultaneously telling your mind to chill out for a second. Because the exercises, yes, while they will help you stretch and reach and gain some strength and some flexibility, they're really secondary, because the mind wants to say, this is ridiculous. Let's get out of here. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go to catering. Let me check that email, right? So the mind is busy. Mind wants to go and do stuff. But you can't go and do stuff because you've committed to doing these asanas, these exercises. And what happens over time is that the mind starts to work for you, rather than us becoming, workers for the mind, right? So that's what I love about yoga is, yes, you do get benefits, physical benefits from the practice, but the real benefits are occurring within. They're occurring in your mind, in your heart, in your breathing. I love long, slow, controlled exhales. Yoga is like being able to play your body like an instrument, which is really exciting.
Very, very cool. I love that. And I'm maybe sometime I'll try Shoga, because I think that's a really fun, just the name alone intrigues me, but that totally makes sense to kind of center yourself physically, mentally, all the different things. And you also have a 17-acre property in San Diego called the Mraz Family Farms, where you grow avocados and passion fruit and coffee. And so, what has been the best experience from this, or what have you learned about your health and wellness throughout this, process of owning this farm?
Yeah, I lovingly call it the Ranch. And I bought it in 2004 because I wanted to live out in the country and play the drums and make noise, and also have my band come and camp out, and we could record and rehearse for tour. It's basically modeled after Bob Marley's home in Kingston, Jamaica, where I took a tour in 2004, saw how this songwriter had set himself up for his band and his family, and have some ways to grow food, and all of it was kind of woven together. And so I said, this is what I want. And found a little place outside of San Diego, and now I've been here almost 20 years. I can't believe it. And it's just lovely to, around 2008, again, when I, 7, 8, I took a big break to work on good food and mindfulness. I kind of woke up to the good food movement that was happening, and more vegan places were opening up, and raw food movement was starting to be a thing. And environmental awareness was really coming on strong. Al Gore released Inconvenient Truth and basically turned on an entire new generation of us to the very devastating possibilities of climate change. And so all of this, I just looked in my backyard and said, wow, I live in the country and I have all this space to grow food and fruit and give back to the planet and produce food in a way that doesn't rob the planet of its carbon, but contributes carbon back into the soil. And local food is better than imported food. And, just these little wins that I found that were right in my backyard. And I also thought, if I can grow organically and in an inspired way, then maybe I can inspire my neighbors and the other farms that are in my area to also participate in some of these more regenerative farm practices. Honestly, Lindsay, I never thought I would be so wrapped up in agriculture, but it it kind of just happened, because the property that I bought had avocado trees on it, and that was great. Avocados were falling from the sky, but
amazing.
that doesn't happen. But it doesn't happen by themselves. Like, it definitely needs a farmer to fertilize the trees. It needs a farmer to prune the trees. It needs a farmer to water the trees and irrigate the trees. It needs a farmer to replant the trees when the old ones are aging out. So just by nature of living here and becoming the landlord of some avo trees, I then kind of got pulled into it. And once I got pulled into it, I saw the possibilities, and they were just huge. And I think also because San Diego, we can grow food year round. The climate here is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It made for nonstop farming, whereas some communities you can shut down for the winter. Here, things just keep going. So I love farming because it is grounding, quite literally. You are putting your hands in the earth, you're putting your feet on the earth, you are connecting to the earth. And as opposed to music, which is, to me, very much about the airwaves. It's about singing and breathing out up into the sky. It's about traveling. It's about going all around the world, and making these connections far and wide, which is also very cool, but it's hard to be grounded on tour. So I love that I get to come home from a tour and just sink my feet right into the garden and get back to something that I feel offsets my carbon footprint.
Yeah. How special. And like, man, there's something like I haven't gardened for years, but I remember when I did have a garden years ago, the appreciation that you gain for the food you eat when you grow it yourself, and when you put that time in and you watch it from the time it's a little seedling, and it's just a whole different kind of appreciation for what the earth gives, but also anything you buy, what it took to make it. And anyways, that's a really, really beautiful thing. And I know we're gonna lose you in just a second, but I wanted, before I lose you, to ask you about those early days when you were performing at Java Joe's in San Diego. That's, I believe, kind of where your performing started, and it's kind of was the grassroots of what blossomed your career. And so what did you learn from performing at Java Joe's that prepared you for the next phase of your career?
I learned that being in a song, performing a song, that to me was everything. And I can get the buzz and the elation from performing. I can get that at the coffee shop level. It's just as easy to get that feeling at the coffee shop as it might be at Carnegie Hall, because the act of singing, the breath work, the exhale on a lyric, and a lyric that makes you feel laughter or love or some kind of awareness. It just, I learned early on that this is what I love. I love being in that timeless moment inside of a song. Now, doing a show every week at the same coffee shop also meant that I needed to be a little bit different every week. I needed to make sure I wasn't doing the exact same show every week, because I wanted people to come back and I wanted them to have a completely different experience. And so the coffee shops taught me two things. It taught me that it doesn't matter where I go in my career, I will always have success if I can sing a song. And if everything falls apart, if I lose my record deal and I can no longer tour, I can go back to that coffee shop and still feel satisfied and still feel like I have all the success in the world. So right away, I didn't put success to be some unattainable thing way out in the future. I had success from day one. And that to me was the greatest gift that I could have ever received. Because everything that's happened since then is just a bonus. You know, making albums, that's just a bonus. Getting Grammys is a bonus, and touring the world, that's a bonus. Because if it all goes away, I'll still get to be me. I'll still get to do what I love to do, and I can just do it in a coffee shop. And that frees me from potential suffering. That frees me from, you know, and sometimes I would bicker with my manager because my manager would have these crazy goals. I was like, I don't need to do that. You know, it's like, I don't need to do that to have, to change my life experience. My life experience is already solid. It's already great. So that's what the coffee shops, that's the real gift the coffee shop gave me.
That's amazing. I think you perfectly just described that balance between like having goals, but enjoying the journey. Like, you know,
Right.
Yeah, you can be content with what you have and still have goals and dreams, but also at the end of the day, you know, like enough is, you have enough. And, you know, this idea of, you know, it's like living in abundance, whether you're, you know, at an open mic night or, you know, at, you know, Coachella, like it doesn't matter. Like that's a beautiful way to describe that. Like, no, I'm enough as I am right here, as long as I can, you know. Yeah, that's beautiful. Is there anything else you would like to share with us before we let you go? And I also just want to say thank you so much for all your time and all your insight that you've, you know, shared on my show.
Hey, well, I'm just so touched that you'd have me on your show. That's so cool. And I'm touched to all the listeners who've tuned in to hear us banter about the creative process and tour life and life in general. I'm like I'd mentioned in this call, like I want to make sure that there's a purpose to what I'm doing. If anyone's going to give me their time and attention, and I'm really grateful that you gave me this hour that felt like it was full of purpose, and that's so great. And that's also an energy quality that you possess. Like every time you appear in a song, in a special, on stage, I feel like there's so much joy and purpose in what you're doing. That's why you have so many fans and you're so loved.
Well, gosh, thank you so much. I mean, that's, I think, what all of us artists hope and pray and work that, you know, we hope people feel. So thank you. That is such a warm, kind thing of you to say. And let us know when does the album come out?
The album gets released on June 23rd, which is my birthday, which I'm very excited about. Never put an album out on my birthday before. But we do have another single coming out next week. We have a brand new song. Two songs are already out there in the world. I Feel Like Dancing, and You Might Like It. And next week we release Pancakes and Butter, our first little R&B slow jam.
So fun. Well, as soon as you jump off, I'm going to play your first two singles that you just chatted about. Because, I wanted to play them, and they're so good. The moment I heard I Feel Like Dancing, I was right before I went to the set to film the music video with you guys, and I was like, this is a jam. It's a great song. Right. So I'm going to play you, but again, I'm going to let you go because I know your time is valuable. Get back to your show creation, and, you know, thanks again. You're the best.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. It was awesome talking to you today.
All right, same, and good luck with that show prep.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay, bye. All right, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to start out with I Feel Like Dancing, mostly because Jason and I talked about it so much. You can see I had a very little fun cameo in the music video. And also, I can't believe I forgot to talk about this with him, but it's a one-take music video, which for anybody who's ever tried to film anything in one take, it's so difficult to even film a little speaking blurb in one take, let alone a full music video that's like 3.5 minutes long with, you know, interchanging locations and people coming in and out. It was quite a feat. So you should definitely go watch the music video. But for now, enjoy the song from Jason Mraz, I Feel Like Dancing. So fun. If you didn't at least dance a little bit while listening to that, then you didn't have it turned up loud enough, or you're in a bad mood, and that's okay. But that song is just so happy, and I think my favorite lyric in it is smile with your hips, smile with your hips, smile with your hips, because you know exactly what to do. You you just automatically like, oh yeah, dip, dip, dip. Anyways, so good, so clever. And again, it was just so fun to be a part of the video and to get that experience. And, anyways, that was so fun. But I'm going to play you the other single that has been released. So there's only released 2 singles from the album so far. Another one comes out in a week and a half on Friday. So this one, it's called You Might Like It. So I think that's enough said. We'll see. All right. So fun. It was also fun to watch the chat, that everybody was enjoying it. And anyways, just thanks again, everyone, for giving me of your time. And, I loved so much of what Jason said, but I've just liked how much he talked about purpose. And I think about that a lot myself as an artist, and especially as I've been writing a new album and working on new music and, planning this, all the different phases of what comes next. It's always interesting to think, like, what's the why? Like, why would someone want to listen to this? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean it in like a, is this something that is worth my fans' attention? Is it something that makes me feel excited to share it, that I feel like it's going to uplift people? And I feel that way about, this radio show. I really appreciate you guys coming and spending an hour plus of your time to hang with me and whoever I bring on. And, I always do my best to make it something that I think would be worth your ears. So anyways, again, thanks everyone for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next week on The Upside.